when the Utah Jazz dealt Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Royce O'Neale in this offseason for a group of primarily young players and a large number of future draft picks, it was assumed that the team's performance would be very terrible this year. And before the 2022-23 NBA season began, the Nuggets, Clippers, Pelicans, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, and the Lakers were all considered virtual playoff locks. All of them have already been defeated by the surprising Utah Jazz. 13 games have passed, and the Jazz are still rolling. After defeating the Hawks, who at the time of this video are the number 4 seed in the East, the Utah Jazz is leading the Western Conference in wins. By far, the Jazz have already been tested by teams that were thought to be playoff locks, and the only Western Conference powers they haven't defeated are the Warriors and Suns, whom they haven't yet faced. NBA fans are still debating how serious the winning Jazz are. Many questions are arising day by day as they continue their early season success. Are the Jazz legit? Are they contending this year? One way to find out is to glance at who they've been defeating. And while the Jazz's early record appears to be impressive, we also need to look at how all the defeated Jazz opponents have looked in their other games. To give a detailed analysis, here's the breakdown. The Clippers have been mostly pedestrian this season, going 7-5 with a one Jazz game in which the Jazz have won. Kawhi Leonard has only played twice this season, and they have the league's second worst offensive rating as of today, in which the Lakers are the worst. The Lakers have been a total disaster, even outside their loss to the Jazz. They are sitting below the West as the 14th seed with a record of 2-9. The Jazz have won and lost against the Rockets, who are currently at the bottom of the West. Alperen Şengün, Houston's third leading scorer, did not appear in either of their games. In the Jazz's victory against the Nuggets had all of their starting players available when the Jazz shocked them in the season opener. But we must also consider that it was Michael Porter Jr.'s and Jamal Murray's first game in over a year of basketball play. The Pelicans had a strong and complete lineup during their game against the Jazz at home, but star wing Brandon Ingram's night was over after just 11 minutes due to a concussion, and Zion Williamson also left early. As of this video, the Pelicans are a respectable 6-5, standing at 6th in the West. The Wolves are at 5-7 overall, and their superstars, Rudy Gobert, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards, are still discovering how to play together. The Wolves were healthy when they lost to the Jazz, and that game went into overtime. Against the Grizzlies, the Jazz didn't deal with Ja Morant in the first game, and in the follow-up, Desmond Bane was unavailable, and Morant appeared worn out after recovering from an illness. And unfortunately, Jaren Jackson Jr. hasn't played at all this year. Aside from analyzing their opponents, here are some of the things that are quite easy to notice from the Jazz this season. The Jazz have changed their risk-reward analysis when deciding whether to gamble or stay at home, because they are aware of their poor rim protection. They are much more inclined to try for steals, set up a chance trap for an adversary, and cause trouble. They appear to look for minus defenders a little more overtly because they aren't structured around a single role man. Additionally, they are attempting more unique pick and rolls, such as inverted, guard to guard, and big to big, due to their skill level at various positions. There are a lot of threes being made, especially above the break threes, thanks to the excellent ball sharing. Their rim attempts and rim finishing are both average, and they are 7th in the league in fewest free throw attempts, so they'll eventually have to figure out how to put more pressure on defenses. Currently, they primarily drive to break down the defense before kicking, which can be seen in this clutch pass by Clarkson to a clutch shot by Beasley. Considering all of this, we can say that the Jazz have had a relatively easy schedule so far this season, which possibly helped them win many games and be at the top of the Western Conference this season. But the Jazz is not to blame for any of it. They are limited to playing the team in front of them on a particular night. It's hard to use the fact that their early competitors have often underperformed against them. Simply put, being as good as they are at this stage is outstanding. Above all the analysis and stats from a game-to-game basis, more information is needed to conclude that the Jazz is a contender. As an NBA fan, I've portrayed the Jazz as a team that is always a playoff contender but never a championship contender. And plus, they're supposed to be rebuilding. So far, the team that most looks like they're on a rebuild is the Lakers. Kidding aside, Let's go ahead and dig deeper into analyzing this Jazz team, and let's look into their recent crazy stats. Let's start with the first crazy and weird stat. Lowry is averaging a career high in offensive stats, but that's not the crazy part. It's his defense. Lauri Markkanen is one of only 13 NBA players to have guarded at least 60 shots at the rim this season, and his opponent's percentage on those shots, 53.1%, is lower than everyone else in that group, except three-time DPOY Rudy Gobert's 52.3% and Brook Lopez, 52%. That is an incredible stat, coming from a player who has never even somewhat been thought of as a rim protector. I have no idea how long it will last, but it's important to note that even if his opponents completely dominate him in his next 20 rim challenges, he would still be keeping them below league average in rim attempts. Another crazy stat is that the Jazz is by far the only team in the league to have more than one 75-point first half this season. It happened last week against the Lakers at Crypto.com Arena. They also scored 75 points before halftime against Denver in the season opener. Well, I guess this Jazz team really knows how to score and create buckets. The third crazy stat is from the young bull. Known as a not-so-efficient scorer, Colin Sexton is surprising everyone by currently having a 59.3 true shooting percentage. He is having his most productive season in the pros. And the fourth crazy stat, guess what? Other than Steph Curry, Desmond Bane, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kelly Olynyk has had the biggest impact on his team's chances of winning. According to the website Unpredictable.com, he receives credit for plays that affect the Jazz's chances of winning at a particular stage based on the clock, score, and result. Thanks to his win probability added of 1.43, it's even crazier looking into who's behind him on the list. I mean, Tatum, Durant, Mitchell, and Giannis? All of these guys are considered stars and leading scorers of their teams, yet Olynyk produces the most impact regarding win probability added. I mean, all I can say is wow. After seeing these insane metrics the team is producing, I can say that this Jazz team is here to stay. Not necessarily in the sense of keeping up with a 55-plus win pace to secure a top 3 seed, but so far, from what they're showing, a legitimate outcome would be the playoffs and/or play-in tournament. Perhaps they experience injuries, or the attraction of a high draft pick starts to take over their thoughts. Also, teams with more ambitious short-term goals might offer a sizable trade package to obtain the Jazz's essential players. In any case, the Jazz are playing in a way that is entertaining to watch and leads to victories. That's also going to stay the same for a while. As long as they want to, the Jazz can remain competitive in the postseason chase. The Jazz have a mix of good and bad teams coming up on their schedule, and this will be where they will really be tested. Will we see the Jazz go for the gold? Can they stay at the top of the West until the end of the season? What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel.